Taj Gibson has just been waived by the New York Knicks, and we have to talk about it because this has big implications on New York Knicks' future trades. So let's jump right into the video and waste no time because as it was just reported by Fred Katz, Taj Gibson has been waived by the New York Knicks. This gives the Knicks extra flexibility leading into the trade deadline. They will have 14 players, which gives them the ability to make a 2-for-1, 3-for-2 trade. Gibson's contract was set to guarantee today, so it's not the most shocking news in the world when you consider the fact that Taj Gibson's contract was set to be guaranteed today, and the Knicks are doing this in the purpose to make more trade flexibility happen so they could potentially acquire an extra player, such as giving 2 players and getting 3 players back and stuff, or giving 1 player, such as Evan Fournier, and getting 2 players back, whoever those 2 guys may be. The main thing that this shows is the New York Knicks are going to make a trade in the coming weeks. There is no way they are waiving Taj Gibson for no reason. This means someone is going to get traded off of the Knicks roster, and the Knicks are going to acquire what's probably 2 players. Now, the short version is that Evan Fournier is going to be the guy to get traded. It makes no sense to keep him around. His contract is going to end after this year because he's got that team option. So it really feels like Evan Fournier is going to get traded is what this certainly means, is that there's no way that Fournier will be sticking around. And now the question is, who are the Knicks going to acquire? What are the Knicks going to give away along with Evan Fournier? And what does this mean for Taj Gibson? We'll answer that last question right now, which is what this means for Taj Gibson is that is the end of an era for Taj Gibson, and that is the end of the NBA career of Taj Gibson. I don't really see Gibson getting picked up by any other team. I assume he'll announce his retirement probably around the summer, and then he'll probably move into an assistant coaching job with the New York Knicks on the Tom Thibodeau bench, as we just made a video on that this morning, and here we are. Maybe that's why that question was asked. Maybe that's why Tibbs said that there was a 100% chance that he'd be interested in having Taj Gibson as an assistant coach for him in the future. That Taj probably knew this was coming. Tibbs probably knew this was coming, and that's one of the reasons why that happened. Now, also, because Taj is no longer on the Knicks have 14 players on roster, as Katz mentioned, which means we are going to see someone's going to get traded off the Knicks, and someone's going to get traded to the Knicks. Shout out to Knicks Twitter personality Trav B. Ryan for posting this in response to Fred Katz telling us that Taj was waived. I think another reason why Taj was waived also is because the Knicks got Precious Achiuwa. Taj came in for extra depth once Jericho Sims went down with the sprained ankle after Mitch got the surgery and was reported to be done for the season. Taj came in for depth, and now he's gone because the Knicks no longer need the depth, and they need the flexibility to make some sort of a trade. I'm pretty curious to what this means. Obviously, there's been a ton of reports that the Knicks are interested in DeJounte Murray, and that could certainly be what happens next. But there's also just a fleet of other possibilities, such as the Knicks are just going to give Fournier in like a few seconds for like potentially a Terry Rozier, maybe a Malcolm Brogdon. Guys who might not be due for getting traded for a first rounder because their team is trying to tank because they just desperately want to get a good player who's around their 30s off the roster and also to get some value back for him and get some cap flexibility going into the summer. Because most tanking teams do like to keep their cap flexibility pretty open so they could sign guys and then later trade them at the deadline for assets, like the Knicks did when they got Marcus Morris. They gave him that $15 million contract for 1 season. He played really well, averaged around 20 points per game. The Knicks trade Marcus Morris to the Los Angeles Clippers. In return, the Knicks get the draft pick that they used on Emmanuel Quickley, and then they would later use Emmanuel Quickley to get OG Anunoby. And basically what I'm saying is that if it weren't for Marcus Morris and the Knicks to sign him, the Knicks might not have OG Anunoby today, and they certainly would not have had Emmanuel Quickley, which shows why, teams will sometimes just be willing to do something like that. And yeah, obviously that was a first-round pick, but also Marcus Morris that season was putting up really good numbers. He was sort of on that borderline of, is he an all-star? Is Marcus Morris an all-star this season, or is it just seizing an opportunity? Clearly it was seizing an opportunity, though no shade towards Marcus Morris. Awesome player, great scorer, great shooter, cool dude. But really what we're looking at here is the fact that the Knicks are going to use whatever draft assets they have to maybe try to beef up this bench unit a little bit and certainly move on from Evan Fournier. Fournier is someone who does belong on an NBA roster and in a rotation. The Knicks are just not the team for him because all of the Knicks guards seemingly are better defenders and the Knicks are a defensive team first. Kyle Kuzma just said it. He's like, look, we try to do what the Knicks do, except they got the personnel to do it, which, first of all, oof, Washington. But also, teams always say this about the Knicks. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander said, he's like, look, they're tough. They're tough to beat. They're a good defense. Mark Daigneault, the coach of the Thunder, was like, yeah, I mean, they're an elite defense. It's why they've been so successful over the years. And look, the Knicks are not really the greatest defense this season, but they still have that defensive reputation, and they've always been a tough team to beat. That's something that Tom Thibodeau prides himself on, his coaching teams, that no matter what their record is, usually it's going to be a better record than not. Tibbs does have a career-winning record with almost 100 more wins than he does losses, so shout out to Tibbs for that. But it's also, he prides himself on coaching a team that even if they lose, they're going down swinging. They're not going to go down easy, and that's what the Knicks have become known for. And Fournier just doesn't fit the bill because he's not a good defender. He's a good offensive player, good shooter, and he's probably going to go somewhere and hopefully shoot pretty well, get near that 40% mark from three, which he almost has for a career stat line. And he's got that $18 million expiring deal, or, well, a team option, but it'd be shocking to see any team pick up the Evan Fournier team option. I assume what we're going to see is Fournier get, his next contract be 2 years, $5 million a year, 2 years, $10 million, which isn't bad. Good value for a shooter. But, yeah, he's not the type of guy for the Knicks right now with this team. The Knicks are guard-heavy, even still to a degree after the RJ quickly Anunoby trade. The Knicks still do have guys like Deuce McBride, like Malachi Flynn, obviously Brunson and Grimes and DiVincenzo and Josh Hart kind of play shooting guard, small forward, and power forward. So the Knicks are a little deep at guard still for the point where Fournier to get his minutes. And I think because you can't trade Malachi Flynn because of that traded player exception unless you trade Flynn by himself with no other players, then you can. But that's the only way you can trade someone on a traded player exception is if they're by themselves. They cannot be paired with any other players. That includes Precious Achiuwa, who came over with him in the trade. Both Precious and Malachi are trade eligible if they're traded by themselves and by themselves only. So essentially, they're not getting moved. Josh Hart is probably not going to get moved, not yet at least. DiVincenzo's definitely not getting moved. We know that Randall's not going to get traded in season if he were to get traded. I highly doubt that Mitchell Robinson is going to get moved during an injury. And then I certainly think that Hartenstein's obviously not getting traded. And we know the whole deal. Brunson, Anunoby, untouchable. Randall probably not getting traded. DiVincenzo not getting traded. Hartenstein not getting traded. The Knicks, if they're doing something, it's going to be to get DeJounte Murray or to beef up the bench. That is really the only thing that makes sense for them right now. And that is why they just waived to Josh Hart. It is to get more space. And just a quick look at the career, or at the career stats of Taj Gibson. He's going to finish his career with a little under 9 points per game, a little under 6 rebounds, 1 assist, shooting 51.8% from the field and 26% from three, which is impressive when he came in as really a non-shooter like most power forwards at the time of his drafting. Shooting 71.3% from the line. This season, in his 10 games, he had 1.5 points, almost 2 rebounds, half an assist, and shot 50% from the field. Shout out to the New York native Taj Gibson. You did it. You lived out the dream that every New York kid at some point who played basketball has had. Huge props to Taj. Congratulations on quite the NBA career. Can't wait to see what you do next, and I truly hope that he does become an assistant coach of the New York Knicks. Wanted to really end it on that note, give Taj his love, give him his props. What Taj has done for the New York Knicks is not going to go unrecognized just because once a Knick, always a Knick. And Taj is a New Yorker, and you know how we love our New Yorkers. Hopefully the Knicks can get some more New Yorkers on the team because outside of Precious, who moved to the Bronx when he was in 8th grade, there's not too many right now. So hopefully that'll change. But we're going to see the Knicks make a trade within around a month from now because the deadline, this is being filmed on Sunday, January 7th. It's also going to come out that day, and February 8th is the NBA trade deadline. So within the next month, within the next 31 days, the Knicks are going to make some sort of trade. Be ready. We will. We'll make a video on it. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss whatever that video is and any other content from Knicks Digest. Like the video, turn on those post notifications, do all that good stuff. Get us that love. We're right near 4K, guys. We got to 3K just a week ago. We got there on New Year's Eve. We're close to getting 1,000 in 1 week. Guys, please keep it up. Appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much for watching. 2024 is just getting started, and we are going to cook. Watch us cook. Let us cook. Have a great day, and go New York Knicks.